The blast wave punched down the concrete corridor just as Astra Collins dove onto the radio, demanding an evacuation code that no one could yet confirm. The lights flickered back to steady amber. Dust hung like smoke. Astra exhaled, shoulders low but ready, her pulse marking time against the muffled wail of base alarms. 30 seconds earlier, this had been a drill. Now, she could taste the difference in the air. Warm metal and scorched plastic, the scent no simulation department would waste budget on. Someone had detonated something real. 3 hours before the corridor blew, dawn had rolled in as a pale smear over Redstone Response Complex. A sprawling disaster response hub masquerading as an ordinary training compound on the edge of scrub desert. The horizon blazed briefly pink, then drained to the sand-colored monotone that made newcomers forget the sky could be blue. Astra's boots were already laced when reveille crackled over loudspeakers. She padded across the barracks floor, past beds stripped with drill sergeant precision, and reached her locker before the others stirred. Habit. Her father used to say combat belonged to the early risers. Her mother argued casualties did too. Astra filed both truths away years ago, but the muscle memory never quit. Inside the locker, her gear waited in ranked order. Trauma kit, compact drone controller, fiber optic scope, field laptop. Everything. Spotless. Last night she'd polished metal edges until they mirrored the fluorescent tubes overhead. Not vanity verification. Debris slid off a polished surface, and clean gear wouldn't jam when sweat and dust tried to claim it. She pulled the scope apart, delicate hands coaxing springs and lenses free, inspecting for the desert's gritty fingerprint. Satisfied, she reassembled it blindfolded, timing herself. 59 seconds. Too slower than yesterday. She let the blindfold fall, jaw tightening. Improvement wasn't optional. It was tradition. Her father's breathy laughter ghosted her memory. Make it 50, kiddo. You only need one bullet. The echo left her impossibly warm and impossibly cold. Across the aisle, Corporal Deacon Wells rolled awake, sand-blonde hair smashed flat. Collins, you polish that thing anymore, and you'll blind the drones. They'll learn to aim by reflection, she murmured without looking up. He snorted, half amused, half annoyed. Deacon was friendly until Rank entered the room. Then he defaulted to the pack mentality that made life easier for men who mistook camaraderie for competition. Today's drill, code-named Tempest Warden, would simulate coordinated bombings across a fictional coastal city. Teams would cycle between triage stations, collapsed structure rescues, and unmanned aerial reconnaissance. 16 hours of staged chaos, followed by hot chow and after-action reviews where everyone congratulated everyone else on surviving a make-believe day. Except Astra suspected something bigger than cardboard rubble, and choreographed screens waited on the schedule. Logistics manifests showed unusual shipments the past week. Live agent antidotes in the infirmary fridge. Extra shielding plates delivered to the drone hangar. Someone was planning realism before they announced it. After hygiene check, she jogged to the hangar to inspect her drone pair, Kestrel 11 and Kestrel 12. Slender quadricopters painted matte slate. The night crew had charged batteries to 98%. She preferred 100. While power topped off, she connected her tablet and recalibrated gyros, thumbs dancing across settings most operators never touched. Drift tolerance down to 0.05 degrees. Rotor response latency trimmed a further 2 milliseconds. Meticulous. As ever, drawled Sergeant Mason Markham from the bay door. Barrel-chested, beard trimmed to regulation shadow, he filled space like furniture. But you'll never outrun raw instinct, Collins. Gear can't replace guts. She didn't bristle. Instinct and data make a stronger pair than either. Alone, Sergeant. He folded arms. We'll see. Don't freeze when things get woolly. Liability's the word I got on you. Liability. The syllables slid across the polished floor, slippery and hard to grip. She gave him a nod that was neither agreement nor surrender. Words once spoken hung dead weight on poorer minds. She'd learned to let them pass. Markham lumbered away to bark at a trio of rookies misaligning stretchers. Astra unclenched her fists and finished calibrations. Breakfast tasted like powdered eggs and adrenaline. Tables buzzed with pre-drill. Bravado. Astra sat among the medic cohort, tying her hair into a precise bun. Specialist Ramirez tapped her forearm. "You see the logistics list? They ordered atropine in bulk." "Must be a nerve agent slice to today's pie," Astra said. She spooned eggs. "Check your auto-injectors twice." Ramirez grinned crookedly. "Always do. But if things get spicy, I'm shadowing you." Astra gave a small smile. "I'm flattered." A hush rippled as Sergeant Markham clapped hands from the head of the mess hall. "Listen up. Tempest Warden kicks off in 60 full kit. Full comes. Treat it like Baghdad on a bad day." He paced, eyes snagging on Astra. "Remember, no heroes. Stick to your lanes. If you blow protocol, you're out." She wondered if. He practiced lines in the mirror, polishing leadership the way she polished steel. Drill start approached. Teams marshaled in the open quad, sunshine already brittle on rising heat. Loudspeakers crackled. Scenario Alpha initiating in 5 minutes. Assume city center blast, mass casualties, unknown secondary threats. Astra linked with Deacon and 2 sappers, Ortiz and Bennett. They formed Recon Element 3, tasked with overflight mapping and locating survivors stuck in a toppled hotel facade. Her drones would lead Dot as they crossed the checkpoint gate. Bennett nudged Deacon. "Hope the drones don't panic." Deacon smirked at Astra. "Liability's got it." She kept stride. Words Dot inside the simulation zone, smoke pots flavored. The wind with theatrical sting. Audio tracks of distant sirens looped. Actors in mileage sprawled moaning under foam brick debris. Astra's HUD streamed drone telemetry, altitude 30 meters. Cams sweeping Dot at 0937. Kestrel 11's mic picked a sound she didn't expect. A secondary whistle. Low and predatory, not part of the canned effects library. She tapped earpiece. "Control, Recon 3. Hearing potential live ordnance signature. Confirm?" "Static Dot," she repeated. The channel remained empty except for a faint hiss. "Maybe Ops is rebooting," Deacon offered. "Unlikely." She bit her lip. "Switch to outband." Still. Nothing. Her tablet flagged stale timestamps from central server. 148-second delay. Tempest Warden prided itself on real-time feedback. A gap that wide could kill in the real world, and training doctrine forbade such lag. She opened encrypted. Diagnostic logs via side channel, eyes flicking. Half the network nodes reported off-grid. That didn't happen by accident. A pre-recorded. Explosion thundered 2 blocks east, scripted. The ground under her boots didn't quiver. Good. But Kestrel 12's camera jittered from shockwaves invisible to them. "Not good. New plan," she said quietly. "Markham won't answer." "We verify." Deacon lifted brows. "You're not in command. Chain of command is silent." She met his gaze, steel calm. "If we sit, someone real might die." Ortiz hesitated, then nodded. Bennett followed. Deacon blew a sigh. "Fine." Astra rerouted Kestrel 11. West for a high sweep. Camera fed a rooftop view. Ventilation fans spinning lazily, tar paper still curving from summer heat. Nothing. Eastward. Kestrel 12 drifted over what should have been a staged casualty cluster. Instead, she saw an actual ambulance overturned. White paint scorched, wheels still spinning. No actor budget covered that dot. She zoomed. Uniformed medics lay motionless among shattered glass. Blood, too red, too wet. Adrenaline iced her veins. Jesus. Bennett whispered, SDS. Silent drone shock. Overcame them. The moment when the simulation curtain rips and reality stares back monstrous. Training manuals write about it. Few read far enough. Astra keyed local broadcast. All elements, possible live attack. Confirm casualties at grid echo 9. Repeat, live casualties. Silence. Somewhere beyond the smoke wall, a second explosion punched air. This time the ground did shake. Dust sifted from broken windowsills. Drop a if you've ever been underestimated. Her mind muttered absurd, the way training inserted crowd engagement prompts into reflex pathways. She suppressed a grim laugh. Not the time, move. She ordered, pointing northeast. We're pulling survivors. They sprinted, weaving through pseudo-rubble until pseudo gave way to sheared rebar and true concrete shards. A half-collapsed canopy smoldered. Deacon swore. Astra slid to the ambulance and knelt by the nearest medic. Real pulse, rapid but there. She applied pressure dressing from her kit, hands as steady as when her mother drilled trauma lessons. On stuffed bears, years before Astra replaced fluff with flesh. Ortiz checked the driver. Gone. Bennett scanned perimeter. Astra's earpiece crackled with Markham's bark. Recon 3, stand down. You're off script. She keyed transmit. Sergeant, we have genuine casualties. Comms lagged 150 seconds. Ops compromised. Scenario. Escalation. Actors upgraded. Stand down. She ground molars. Sir, we smell real explosives. Return to lane, Collins. His voice bore heat of public embarrassment. Deacon frowned. He's not coming. No time to argue. She shoved a tourniquet into Ramirez's trembling fingers. He'd arrived with medical group. Finish here. Evac south. She motioned Ortiz and Bennett toward the adjoining building where survivors might be trapped. They obeyed, confidence hitching onto her gravity. Interior corridors reeked of ozone. Emergency lights guttered. She toggled drone floodlights via tablet. Beams sliced darkness ahead. They located 2 engineering trainees beneath collapsed ductwork. Using pry bars and a portable jack, they lifted twisted paneling. Astra coached breathing, reciting her mother's calm cadence. Minutes later, both trainees hobbled free, shocky but alive. Her tablet chimed. New data packet. Mission log node 47 uploading anomalous event chain. She scanned. Automated sensors had flagged unscheduled detonation. Signatures at 0932 and 0937. Chemical composition unknown. Classification red. The log appended a priority flag to her call sign. Asterisk a Collins. Confirm findings. Asterisk someone or something inside the network. Recognized her competence even as Markham shouted her down. She shared log with Ortiz. That's proof. Control. Can't ignore red flags. She wasn't so sure. But the log meant watchers remained. Perhaps silent observers screening for decisive actors. She'd decide then. A disembodied hiss filled hallway vents. Bennett lifted his multi-gas meter, needle spiked. Chlorine? Astra's skin prickled. Masks on, fast. They sealed respirators. Fog rolled through partial light like pale. Ghosts. Coughs echoed deep where iron groaned. She opened drone storage and swapped Kestrel 12's payload for chemical sampler. The quick release clicked, a satisfying note amid chaos. A new voice whispered across command net female, calm. Encrypted, Operator Collins, your data feed is primary. Proceed to control hub and secure servers. Astra blinked. Identify. Cannot, eyes on you. Trust mission. The line cut. Deacon stared, eyes wide. Speakers had bled sound to everyone on local frequency. Who the hell, he began. Later, she breathed. Control hub is north block. We go. They moved, stepping over fractured tiles. Overhead, concrete moaned like tired beasts. Outside, sirens ceased eerily. The entire compound sounded hollow. Near the hub, Markham appeared, flanked by 3. Armed MPs. He pointed. Collins, stand down. You've hijacked the drill. She projected steadiness. Sergeant, chemical agent present. Mission log shows unauthorized detonations. We need to secure servers, he scoffed. Scripts include NBC scenarios. Quit grandstanding, then explain real casualties, actors. Bennett tugged mask aside long enough to gag green bile. Actors don't bleed like this. Markham's jaw twitched. Maybe doubts seeped. But pride's weight proved greater. Hand me the tablet. Astra tightened grip. Accessing servers will clarify. Liability, drop it. He stepped forward. Behind him, the corridor lights died. Emergency strobes ignited, red then black. Total power failure. In darkness. Digital eyes adjusted to glowing drone feed on Astra's tablet. The screen displayed a new timer, 007-006. Counting down. Second device. Astra's breath froze mid-inhalation. Everyone down. She threw herself toward Markham, shoving him sideways as a deafening concussion ripped somewhere. Overhead, ceiling panels shattered, raining sparks. Structural supports shrieked. Floor heaved. The world tilted. Gravity, unreliable. When noise relented, Astra lay half buried beneath wiring bundles. Distantly she heard herself breathing. She pushed debris off and rose to one knee. Strobes gone. Absolute night, save the soft glow of the mission log still. Clutched in her glove. Among broken beams, Sergeant Markham groaned. Alive. Tablet pinged again. Asterisk secondary device neutralized. Unconfirmed. A request line blinked. Upload ocular confirmation within 60 seconds. Asterisk, she swallowed. Someone trusted her alone, an honor edged with terror. She turned drone cam upward through gaping hole. Flames licked support girders. A sputtering. Third charge nestled like a malignant jewel. Timer fast at 0:54. 54 seconds. She exhaled once, slow. Then she spoke, voice level. Deacon, Ortiz Bennett, pull casualties back. I'm going up. They protested in overlapping fear. She answered with quiet steel. I have the reach. Kestrel 11's winch could deliver a microcharge to sever the blasting cap if she operated within 10 meters. That meant climbing the skeletal stairwell now dangling over void. She holstered tablet, gripped a twisted rail, and hauled herself upward. Each heartbeat a drum against bone. 30 seconds. A foot slipped. She caught rebar, muscles screaming. Sparks sizzled past her cheek. 20. Astra remembered her father's serenely lethal aim, her mother's gentle sutures, and the day both told her she could never split herself between their worlds. She chose to prove them wrong. 10. KESDR 11 hovered, awaiting command. She keyed detonation override and prayed calculations held. 5. The drone's cutter burst forward, severing the cap. The timer froze at 0:03. Silence, as silence so loud. It drowned her pulse. Then the cap exploded in a contained pop. Energy-channeled balloon, like into foam that Kestrel's payload had deployed milliseconds prior. Shrapnel hissed harmlessly against gelled polymer. Below, voices erupted in ragged cheers. Markham's among them, raw with disbelief. Astra sagged against railing, lungs burning. Kestrel buzzed near, as though asking, asterisk next orders? Asterisk, she gazed down the yawning cavity she'd just climbed. Dust parted like theatrical curtains revealing men and women staring up. Masks askew, hands shaking, alive. Somewhere deeper in the compound, servers blinked awake as backup power surged. Screens would parse mission logs, cross-reference sensor. Arrays, and spell an undeniable truth. The liability had become the linchpin, but that reckoning lay minutes ahead. For now, Astra released a breath and began her descent. Halfway down, the overhead structure creaked, the stairwell hinges tearing under new strained. Metal snapped. She plunged. Marshall. Gravity showed no mercy. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're from. If this story moves you, please subscribe. Tomorrow, I have a special story for you. Air tore past Astra Collins like a hurricane compressed into seconds. She hit the first railing, ribs screaming, bounced, clawed metal, slid, and finally slammed into a pile of fractured wallboard that caught her like a hostile net. Stars burst across her vision. Somewhere above, shards still rained, tink tink, a morbid ticker counting down the building's last coherence. She rolled sideways, before a steel bracket punctured the spot where her helmet had been. Pain mapped new continents across her body, but movement proved she was alive. Somewhere to her right, Sergeant Markham shouted for medics odd reversal, as if willingness alone could teleport triage teams through the chaos. Astra tested limbs. Left ankle aflame. Probably a sprain. Right wrist numb. Possible fracture. Lungs burned from dust-laden breaths. She suppressed the inventory of hurts. Triage mindset demanded prioritizing threats outside her skin. She reached for her tablet, miraculously intact beneath her chest plate. Mission log still pulsed, waiting for ocular confirmation. The third charge lay inert, severed, safe for now. She lifted the tablet toward the gaping hole for a wide shot. Upload progress ticked. 0%, 35%, 72%. Complete. Text scrolled. Asterisk thank you, Operator Collins. Continue to Control Hub for Data Integrity Protocol Delta Sunrise. Asterisk. Her breath wavered. Whoever sat behind that voice treated terrorism like a software patch. Yet their trust anchored her resolve deeper than Markham's contempt ever could. She pushed debris aside and rose. Gravity argued. Her ankle buckled. She hissed, tightened bootlaces for compression. Above, dust whirled in shafts of emergency lighting. The backup generators must have kicked on. Deacon scrambled down collapsed stairs, face pale beneath soot streaks. Astra, you're bleeding. She touched her hairline. Fingers came away. Red. Head wounds dramatize, she muttered. Where's Ortiz? Guarding Bennett, he caught rebar through the calf. Bleeding controlled. Good. We moved to Control Hub. Deacon shook his head, half disbelief, half admiration. You're nuts, but I'm in. Markham limped over, nursing a dislocated shoulder. Collins, I owe you, but this op is above your pay grade. Sergeant, respectfully, pay grade is irrelevant when the chain of command severed. She gestured to the ravaged corridor. Mission log assigned me Delta Sunrise. Delta Sunrise? Recognition flickered behind his eyes. That's black tier contingency, meant for hostage cyber compromises. Then we treat it accordingly. You can court-martial me later. He exhaled, pride breaking apart like cheap rivets. Right. Recon 3, you lead. I'll rally stragglers. The concession rippled through nearby personnel who'd overheard. Liability no longer. They nodded as she passed, shoulders squaring. Outside, dawn had surrendered to high noon heat. Smoke columns bruised the sky. Sirens wailed intermittently, some genuine, others still part of the original drill. Impossible to parse. Kestr, Eleven circled overhead, shadow tracing fractured pavement. She sensed drone feed to command HUD glasses. One lens cracked but functional. Audience prompt spooled unconsciously to tongue. If you've ever been told to stay in your lane, drop a. She suppressed it, no time but the rhythm of. Such prompts had conditioned focus, bizarrely keeping panic at bay. They skirted a crater where potable water tanks once stood. Chlorine fumes lingered. Bennett's meter, earlier, had spiked. Astra's respirator still fitted tight. The control hub rose ahead, a two-story bunker of reinforced concrete, its facade bay pocked by fresh scars. Steel shutters supposedly blast-proof hung. Askew, motor servos melted. Ortiz waved from a makeshift casualty station outside the main doors. Bennett lay propped against wall, 4-bag taped to rebar. Blood seeped through field dressing, but pulse remained strong. Med evac ET unknown. Ortiz reported. Radios trash across 3 bands. Understood. Hold here. Astra eyed door keypad dark. She rapped knuckles. Any survivors inside? Faint thump. Then a voice shouted, muffled, "Collins?" Her stomach flipped. The voice belonged to Dr. Naomi Keller, head cyber defense analyst, mentor since Astra's base arrival. "We're here," Astra replied. "Door power's dead. Can you override manual bolts?" "System fried." Interior bar engaged. Astra scanned exterior. Vent panel near ground bolted. She knelt, unthreaded bolts with multi-tool. Inside, a tangle of wires and cooling tubes blocked entry. She sliced, careful to avoid coolant spray, and widened opening. Deacon's eyes widened. "You'll crawl through that?" "Small advantages," she said, hint of smile. She slid belly first. Metal scraping armor. 10 feet in, she hit interior grill. Unscrewed. Pushed through. Dropped into darkness lit by emergency beacons. Keller greeted her, glasses cracked, hair singed. Didn't expect extraction by ventilation. Unscheduled days breed creativity. Control hubs smelled of burnt insulation. Racks of servers. Blinked amber, some entirely dark. 2 analysts tended a wounded colleague with facial lacerations. Keller motioned Astra to console number 12-1 of few still green. "Our network was hijacked at 0931 via supply chain exploit in the simulation. Command modules. They used our own scenario injector to feed real detonator signals." Astra grimaced. "Why Redstone?" "Proof of concept for smart terror. Show the world any training compound can be weaponized remotely." Mission log window glowed on Astra's HUD. Asterisk initiate Delta Sunrise. Isolate master node. Purge hostile code. Secure evidence. Asterisk manual displayed alongside. Steps numbered 132. She skimmed. Step 5 required biometric. Authorization hers already pre-validated via earlier involvement. She glanced at Keller. "Why me?" Keller shrugged painfully. "Your father's sniper file flagged you years ago. Precision under duress. Unrelated maybe, unrelated. Yet tendon deep in destiny. Step 1. Physically sever uplink fiber to satellite relay." She located the junction, unplugged connectors. Instant drop in malicious packet flow indicators. Step 2. Boot independent security kernel on surviving rack. She inserted encrypted USB key from Keller cold to touch despite heat. Console scrolled code. Launching sandboxed OS. Green text replaced red. A low boom quivered building. Dust drizzled from a sea vents. Someone was still lighting fuses outside. Deacon radioed in. "RPG hit north wall. We're holding but can't spare more casualties." Astra responded. 10 minutes. She ran step 3. Cross-compile integrity hashes. CPU fan screamed. Power flickered, threatened blackout. She clenched jaw. Backup generators fuel, maybe half-spent. An analyst shouted. "Botnet injecting false positives to overload CRC check." Keller cursed. "If hash fails, we can't verify clean kernel." Astra recalled that Kestrel 11's onboard compute pack carried its own cryptographic library. She opened remote shell to drone, retrieved pre-attack hash lists stored in flight controller memory untouched by breach. She fed hash list into console. Verification restarted. Bar inching. Keller stared. "You used a drone as offline checksum vault?" "Habet," Astra said, cheeks flushing despite crisis. She never trusted single points. Progress 10%, 27%, 65%. Gunfire clattered outside. "Deacon, contact." "Hostiles in desert camo, unknown affiliation." Markham's voice. "Hold." "Lines, Collins, hurry." Step 4 required manual reset of master node's hardware watchdog deep inside server cage. Astra sprinted to rack, twisted release levers, slid heavy chassis out halfway. Inside, copper braid of watchdog module glowed cherry overheating. She grabbed insulated pliers, yanked module, burning through glove. Pain streaked, but plastic stink told of melted fingertips. She jammed spare module. Keller handed over. Server fans roared, stabilizing. Verification 97%. 100%. Screen flashed. Asterisk kernel clean. Authorized purge? Y knee, she hit Y asterisk. Across network diagram. Hostile nodes blinked red, then extinguished, replaced by blue island secure enclaves. Momentary quiet, as though the building exhaled. Keller whispered, "We're back." Deacon radioed. Gunfire ceased. They're retreating. Before relief fully landed, mission log updated. Asterisk stage 2 secure evidence. Extract drive Z3. Physically transport to Helix Vault. Asterisk Helix Vault lay 5 kilometers west across open scrub, no cover. Midday sun, unknown hostile pockets. Keller's face drained. "We don't have armor evac." Astra flexed injured wrist. "We have drones." She outlined plan. Install drive. Z3 into Kestrel 11's cargo pod. Program ultra-low terrain flight to vault coordinates using map of the Earth algorithm to avoid radar. Keller hesitated. If intercepted, data lost. "I'll escort on foot. On that ankle?" "I've marched worse," she lied. They removed drive, small, dense, encrypted. Astra carried it outside, where firefighting foam smothered smoking debris. Markham approached, shoulder now splinted. "Status?" "Network secure. Evidence ready for vault." "Need detached crew to guard passage." He nodded, turned to assembled group. "Volunteers?" Hands rose. Deacon, Ortiz, Ramirez, despite arm sling others. Liability's magnetism reversed polarity. Markham assigned a 6-person escort plus. Drone overwatch. They loaded drive into Kestrel 11's pod, latched. Astra configured flight path at 3 meters altitude, hugging ravines. Stage lights of despair dimmed. Stage lights of determination flared. They departed compound via service road littered with broken asphalt. Heat shimmered, 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Kestrel buzzed ahead, invisible beneath sun glare. 10 minutes in, desert silence yawned. Cicadas droned. Astra's ankle throbbed, each step a spike. She bit inside cheek to stay present. Audience prompt spilled out before she could catch it. Ever marched on a wounded foot because quitting wasn't an option? "Dropo," Deacon gave her a look, half query, half grin. The psychological ritual amused even him now. Ahead, Kestrel transmitted sudden turbulence and video ripples across scrub. Something disrupted airflow. Astra slowed. Possible rotor wash from hostile UAV. Brace. She commanded Kestrel to climb to 15 meters, camera panning. Feed revealed a fixed-wing drone sleek. Matte black shadowing at 40 meters altitude. "Unknown UAV," she announced. "Not ours." The black drone banked, lining behind Kestrel like a hawk-eyeing sparrow. "Jammer," Ortiz guessed. "Or hunter-killer." Kestrel's telemetry spiked, packet lost, jamming. Control link degraded. Autopilot switched to failsafe, but still tracked toward vault. Astra yanked tablet cable, slotted high-gain antenna dish. Regained tenuous contact. She toggled evasive routine alpha. Unpredictable altitude hops, lateral zigzags. Black drone mirrored CUNNGLY. They needed kinetic solution. Escort carried rifles, but range insufficient. Astra remembered Kestrel 12, still back at compound. But Kestrel 11 lacked armament-only tools. She dug into rucksack. Produced slender zip gun, the pyro cutter charge rig for demolitions. Basically a shaped thermite slug with drone mount clamp. She taped cutter under Kestrel 11's belly via remote arm. Rerouted trigger to spare servo. If black drone closed within 2 meters, thermite could melt guidance fins causing crash. Risk, data drive aboard. But thermite focused downward. Upward spray minimal. She prayed physics would cooperate. Black drone descended. Kestrel feigned stall, dropping altitude. Predator matched, closing gap, 2 meters. 1. Astra pulsed trigger. For a beat, nothing. Then a white-hot tongue licked out, searing mid-air. Black drone's composite skin blistered, right winglet sheared. It spiraled, smoke corkscrewing, cheer erupted among escort. Kestrel wobbled, but remained stable. Victoria's grin died as her tablet shrieked. Proximity alert rear. Behind them. Dust plumes signaled incoming vehicle-modified pickup bristling with antennas. 2 gunmen in bed. Markham's voice over secured come. We're tracking vehicle. ETA 60 seconds from your 6. Can't deploy QRF in time. Astra scans surrounding terrain. Only a shallow arroyo right side. Down slope cover. They slid into arroyo as bullets stitched road edge. Sand geysers erupted. Deacon returned fire, others joining. Astra crouched with scope, spotting driver's shoulder. Her father's old lessons lined sights with preternatural calm. She squeezed, driver jerked sideways. Truck fish-tailed dot gunman. In bed swung weapon but shot skyward as Ortiz's round struck chest. Truck veered, slammed boulder, engine steam belching. Kestrel soared ahead oblivious. Astra keyed autopilot update to accelerate to vault entry point. Altitude now 5 meters to clear ridgeline. She rose, body trembling from adrenaline drain. Ankles stabbed, her vision dimmed edges. She breathed, centered. Escort advanced to wreck. Gunman down. She checked truck SATCOM gear military grade, stolen likely. Data tablet inside blinked encrypted chat. Asterisk asset Z3 must not reach vault. Asterisk timestamp live. Intercept validated. Mission stakes. Enemy would keep coming. They torched vehicle electronics with thermite shards, grabbed water canteens, resumed march. Sun slanted west. Scrub shadows grew swords. Kestrel's icon reached vault perimeter, landed per parameters. Confirmation ping warmed Astra's chest. But mission log flashed new directive. Asterisk stage 3, evacuate witnesses. Hostile reinforcement inbound heavy. Air evac ETA 45 minutes. Hold position at Vault Ridge. Asterisk 45 minutes against heavy reinforcements in open desert. Deacon, read over shoulder. Will be target dummies. Stone dummies, Ramirez corrected, pointing to mesa across canyon red sandstone spires. Natural battlements. Astra calculated. We dig in there, choke point. They double-timed, spirits buoyed by purpose. Atop mesa, old mining shed offered limited cover. They stacked sandbags from abandoned supplies, laid interlocking fields of fire. She patched Markham. Mesa red point secured. Request drone reconnaissance. Surprise in his tone softened to pride. QRF en route, hold. She scanned horizon through scope. Heat waves distorted distance, but plume columns hinted at enemy convoys. As sun kissed horizon. First vehicles appeared. 3 pickups, dust tails golden in dying light. They halted 800 meters out. Figures spilled, setting mortar. Astra's heart hammered, yet clarity settled like cool water. She relayed coordinates to Markham for artillery, but base batteries offline. Looks like we write our own ending. Ortiz muttered. Astra addressed team. We delay. We don't break. Whoever doubts, remember every time someone called you weak. She slotted fresh mag. Another alien but oddly comforting phrase surfaced. Drop a, if you've ever stood when running was easier. Deacon, Ramirez, Ortiz all chuckled, raising symbolic fists. Mortar thumps bloomed. Shells arced. They braced. Explosions rocked sandstone lip, showering chips. She called adjustments, team shifting, maintaining gaps. Return fire. Deacon's rifle cracked, hitting spotter. Mortar fire grew erratic. Enemy advanced under cover to 400 meters. Astra's ankle throbbed, but trigger pull remained steady. Each squeeze felled shadow. Gunsmoke scented the evening. But ammo dwindled. 8 mags total for 6 defenders. Vehicle roar behind them startled reinforcements. They turned weapons. raised only to see a desert tan Humvee cresting ridge, redstone markings. Driver waved, QRF. Ramirez yelled. Relief surged too soon. A whoosh overhead preceded explosion. Humvee erupted in fireball. Anti-tank round from enemy flank. Flame silhouetted Astra's team, blinding. Enemy seized moment, rushing valley. Bullets pinned sandstone. Ortiz screamed. Shoulder hit, thrown back. Chaos threatened to unravel lines. Astra crawled to Ortiz, dragged him behind drum. Blood-soaked sleeve. She applied quick clot, bandage, whispered steady words resembling her mother's lullabies. Mortar resumed, closer. Sandstone cracked. Fragments sliced her cheek. Night finally. Bled fully, stars blinked across violet canvas. Without NVGs, both sides fought by muzzle flashes. Astra's drones, only one operational, could provide IR illumination. She toggled Kestrel's floodlight to infra mode. Bathing valley in ghostly invisible glow piped to her HUD. Targets popped crisp. She transmitted bearing calls. Deacon and Ramirez adjusted, hits stacking. Enemy momentum faltered, but second wave of pickups approached from east, headlights off. Sensor flagged 15 hostiles. Ammo check, she called. 2 mags, Deacon replied. Half. Ramirez coughed. Empty, she admitted, raising single round in chamber. Thunder rolled distant. Rotor thunder. Helicopter silhouettes swept overhead, unmarked little birds. Spotlight stabbed ground. Miniguns spewed tracer arcs into enemy lines. Air support. Deacon whooped. Birds strafed, shredding vehicles, scattering survivors. Valley transformed into fiery grid of light. Radio crackle. Dustoff 01. Compliments of Delta Sunrise. Secure perimeter. Astra sagged. Exhaustion draping shoulders. Markham's voice cut in. Collins, Sitrup? She spoke, words slurred by fatigue. Drive delivered. Mesa holds. Casualties manageable. Evac inbound 5 mics. She glanced at Kestrel hovering sentinel above, then at team grimed, wounded, but standing. Liability label lay buried out here, lost in spent casings. Ramirez leaned against sandbag, smirked. Guess the mission log will show who saved who. Astra allowed a thin smile, but horizon birthed new glow. A column of dust, bigger than any pickup. Infrazoom revealed armored personnel carrier. Turret bristling. Air support banked away, low on ammo. Valley guns fell silent, but a PC kept coming. Evac 5 minutes. APC-2. Calculations grim. Astra's tablet pinged final directive. Asterisk stage 4. Deny evidence recovery. If vault compromised, initiate failsafe code. A Chimera asterisk failsafe required. Manual presence at vault to trigger. She was here on Mesa, 5 clicks away. Her gaze flicked to Kestrel, still airborne, still armed with improvised thermite. She could remote pilot drone back, but distance and battery low, alternate. She could direct gunship to destroy vault, but risk data integrity, time bleeding. She keyed command. Voice barely audible. Kestrel 11, priority override. Target. Vault access hatch. Payload. Self-destruct thermite pack. Drone acknowledged. Deacon stared, horror dawning. You'll burn the data we protected? Better lost than enemy captured. Ortiz's weak voice. But chain of custody. Astra bit lip. Not if Kestrel transmits complete drive image during last second. We streamed to satellite. Only works once. She initiated remote imaging. Progress bar creeping as drone zipped toward vault. APC roared closer. Turret swiveling toward Mesa. Mission log window. Upload 12%. She watched bars crawl. Each breath dragging shards in lungs. Upload 28%. APC fired warning shot. Shell detonating rock spire. Shockwave slapping them. Upload 44%. Evac choppers blot silhouettes on horizon behind Mesa. Still minutes.apc accelerated. Asterisk upload 56%. Asterisk connection flickered enemy. Jamming from a PC spikes. She rebooted through backup channel. Latency soaring. Upload 63%. Another shell obliterated sandbag row. Deacon pulled Ramirez clear. Granite shrapnel peppered Astra's armor. Upload 71%. Turret aligned directly front. Muzzle flash Astra screamed, down. Shell impact hacked Mesa edge, earth tremored. She sprawled, tablet skittering near cliff, cracked screen still. Showed bar. Upload 88%. A PC climbed final incline. 50 meters away. Upload 94%. Camera feed from Kestrel glimpsed vault. Sunset light bathing concrete cylinder. Upload 97%. Drone altitude 2 meters. Dropping.apc turret locked on Mesa positions. Coax swirling dust. Upload 99%. Astra keyed final code. Execute. Kestrel's camera froze on hatch. Then white out. As thermite splashed. Tablet connection died. An infinity of seconds passed. Then mission log popped single line of green text. Asterisk upload complete. Evidence secured in cloud node. Failsafe success. Asterisk she allowed breath to escape. But a PC remains threat. Turret rumbled. Gunner repositioning. Sudden whoosh overhead Apache gunship, stenciled with redstone markings, unleashed rocket salvo. Rockets slammed a PC. Explosion blooming into ferocious fireball. Shockwave punched. Heat blast rolling hair. Radio. Hammer 2. Sorry we're late. Skies clear. Relief poured but spine tingled with delayed fear. She slumped, adrenaline gone. Chopper dust-off hovered, ropes unfurling. Medics rappled, tending wounded. Astra's vision tunneled. Ankle pain thundered above everything. She sat, surrendering rifle, body slack. A medic knelt. You're safe now. She blinked once, power grid of memory blacked out, pulling her under. The world vanished before she heard evac bird lift. When sensation bled back into Astra Collins's consciousness, it arrived piecemeal. First the metal and antiseptic tang in her nose, then a distant rotor thrum, then the rhythmic click-click-click of 4 drips calibrating flow. She pried. Eyelids apart. Canvas roofing rippled overhead, lit by generator lanterns that painted everything a queasy amber. A field hospital tent. Air hung warm, humming with portable HVACs struggling against desert night. Murmurs of medics, soft groans of patients. The occasional barked dosage order wove a thick sonic quilt around her cot. Memory returned in scattered shards. The Mesa firefight, the Kestrel's fiery self-destruct, the APC's final charge, the gunship rockets. And before that a day that had started as a drill. How far back did the thread stretch? She exhaled, tasting dust and defeat mixed with triumph. She shifted and pain answered everywhere. Her ankle was immobilized in a polymer brace, ribcage. Wrapped tight, wrist splinted. And 4-line fed crystalloid solution into her left arm, while an oxygen cannula tickled nostrils. Vital monitors blinked sluggish greens and yellows beside her pillow. A shadow blocked lantern glare. Deacon Wells, face streak, clean but eyes swollen with fatigue, lowered himself onto the folding chair. He offered half a smile. Welcome. Back, dead weight. Astra's voice emerged ragged. How long? 18 hours. Surgery on the ankle hairline fracture and shredded ligament. Orthopedic says you'll walk in a month, run in 3. She grimaced. Running sooner. Deacon's grin widened. That attitude kept us alive. Then seriousness returned. Sid wants to brief. But Keller put them off until you were conscious. Keller's safe? Physically. But she's holed up in secure ward. Chain of command tangle around her like concertina wire. Astra's gaze drifted to tent flaps swaying. Beyond, floodlights stabbed the night, and silhouettes of armed patrols crisscrossed. Any idea who orchestrated the attack? Intel. Spooks say cyber mercenary cell called Black Shuck took credit on a darknet board, claimed it was a paid demo. Paid by whom? That's classified even from me. Astra attempted to sit. Payne insisted. Another shadow approached Sergeant. Mason Markham, right arm still in sling, uniform grime scrubbed to threadbare. He stopped at bedside. Eyes that once held scorn now carried something bordering on reverence. Collins, he began, voice low. I've recommended you for the Silver Star. Doesn't erase my earlier misjudgment, but it's a start. She regarded him steadily. Recognition's hollow while the threat stands. He nodded contrite. Threat definitely stands. Black Shuck vanished after extraction teams raided suspected safehouse. Found only burnt drives and a single calling card. He produced a plastic evidence sleeve containing a charred metal fragment etched with a stylized wolf head around a circuit glyph. Their signature. In the shard's reflection, Astra saw her own exhausted eyes. They'll strike again. That's the worry. ComSoc and DHS set up Task Force Meridian. They want you as technical liaison once you're mobile. Don't want to be desk-bound. You might not be. Meridian's forward deploying to Port Gabriel in 48 hours. Satellite chatter flagged unusual drone traffic near the harbor links to Shuck. Port Gabriel major shipping hub 2 states west. Astra's pulse quickened. Their next showcase. Markham leveled gaze. Volunteers only. Deacon slapped cart rail. You knew she'd say yes before asking. Markham allowed thin grin. Paperwork's en route. Then he leaned closer, dropping volume. One more thing, mission log flagged a data anomaly after your upload. Someone tampered. Sid believes an insider accessed the cloud node and duplicated the drive image before forensic locks engaged. Astra's stomach chilled. Insider where? Redstone. Footprints point to a facility badge with level 4 clearance. Less than 20 people. She thought of Keller, of the analysts, of medics roaming free after chaos. Trust shrank to a pinhole. Markham straightened. Heal fast. He exited. Boots crunching gravel. Deacon sighed. Guess suspense never ends. Astra. Let silence settle, broken only by Vital's blip. Inside, gears turned patterns, motives, opportunities. Whoever duplicated the drive possessed foresight. Perhaps they were contingency for Black Shuck, or a separate vulture. Her eyelids grew heavy again. She fought sedation, but it wrapped. Her brain in velvet weights. Deacon squeezed her hand. Rest. Ramirez and Ortiz pulled through. Then it's stable. Good, she whispered, then slipped into darkness where drone propellers hummed lullabies patched from code and wind. She surfaced to mid-morning light filtering canvas. This time Keller hovered, delicate features drawn taut. She placed a finger to lips for quiet, then produced a slim data slate. Asterisk watched this privately. Asterisk. The note atop read. Keller slipped slate under blanket, then spoke aloud for listening devices. How are you feeling, soldier? Records show remarkable resilience. Better, Astra answered, mirroring formality. Keller nodded, checked 4-bag theatrically, and left. Astra hid slate beneath pillow until night. She then eased earbuds into ears and tapped play. Keller's recorded visage appeared, eyes darting as though expecting interruption. Astra, if you're seeing this, trust is a brittle thing. I detected unauthorized duplicate of drive image. But CID's conclusion is wrong. It wasn't a level 4 badge. It was me. Astra's breath caught. Keller continued. Before you judge, understand, Meridian isn't what it seems. Their charter extends beyond defense. It's offensive tech procurement. They intend to weaponize Black Shuck's methods for pre-emptive strikes, sidestepping oversight. I couldn't let that monopoly happen. I safeguarded a copy for a neutral watchdog called Glass Hammer. They will expose violations publicly. Video glitched. Keller glanced off camera at unheard sound. I've broken more laws than I can list. I'm leaving tonight before they lock down the base. Help me if you believe truth matters more than medals. Coordinates appended. Feed ended, replaced by map overlay with meet point, and abandoned. Silver mine 30 miles north. 12 hours hence. Astra stared long after screen dimmed. Keller, her mentor, now rogue whistleblower? Or manipulated by deeper games? Either way, trust indeed brittle. She drew slow breath, weighed choices. Ignore message, let Meridian coil around new authority. Or go risking court-martial to learn. More. Mind sketched intangible scales. In one pan, loyalty to uniform and teammates saved. In other, loyalty to principle, her parents. Embodied never pull trigger on half-truth. Her father once said, **A lone bullet can ignite wars or end them. Make certain which before you squeeze. **. She slipped to 10th floor, testing ankle. Pain flared, but brace held weight. She scavenged crutches, dressed in fatigues, tucked slate deep in cargo pocket. Mid-camp hush hindered movement. Generators hummed. Guards patrolled perimeter, but medical wards remained low priority. She limped past sleeping cots, heart hammering louder than footfalls. Outside, moon-painted compound silver. Watchtowers swept arcs of light. She timed swings, moved when beams angled away, ghosting across shadow scenes. Adrenaline blurred edges. Pain a distant radio. She reached supply depot, picked lock on side cabinet, retrieved compact field toolkit. Water, energy bars. She didn't dare armory. Missing weapons would spark alarms. Instead, she palmed a tranquilizer pistol used by wildlife unit. Non-lethal, silent, enough. She navigated drainage culvert beyond perimeter fence. Crawled through spiderwebs and emerged into desert hush. Stars rained cold fire overhead. A figure stepped from scrub deacon. He raised hands before she drew trank. Easy. I figured you'd bolt. She cursed under breath. I can't drag civilians. I'm not civilian. And you're hobbled. Let me drive. He jerked thumb at camouflage dirt bike stashed behind yucca. Stole it from recon shed. She exhaled, realizing how transparent she must have appeared. This won't end with commendations. I'm not here for ribbons. The truth you fight for, I want part of it. Reluctant gratitude flickered. She nodded. All right. They. Mounted bike, deacon piloting, Astra clutching waist, ankle braced by rear foot peg. Engine purred low, electrics tuned for stealth, and they sped north following dry riverbed. Dawn bruised horizon when silver mine silhouette surfaced rusted, head frame and yawning at it. Wind carried metallic ghost smell. They parked behind. Pile of tailings, advanced on foot. Inside cavern mouth, shafts of sunlight pierced dust motes, revealing footprints fresh. Astra tensed, signaled deacon. A single blinking LED deeper within drew them portable terminal perched on crate. A note taped. Asterisk friend or foe. Underneath, 2 buttons, blue diamond, red diamond. Astra almost laughed at coincidence audience. Prompt repurposed. She pressed. Terminal word. Speaker crackled with Keller's voice. If you chose loyalty, wait. Drone overhead will guide you. Wine grew above. Translucent quadcopter lowered small parcel. Inside, encrypted phone, key fob, and instructions to proceed to second rendezvous Port Gabriel docks tonight. Keller already moved. Astra scowled. Wild goose chase her security measure? She pocketed items. Deacon studied map. That's 200 miles. With roadblocks up, we'll need air. Astra's mind flashed to Kestrel, 12 still grounded at Redstone small range. But Markham's unit retained a tilt-wing Osprey for supply runs. She eyed Deacon. Think you can borrow a bird? He grinned cider sweet. Borrow, hijack semantics. They exited mine straight into gun metal of rifle barrels. A ring of armored soldiers encircled them, Task Force Meridian patches on sleeves. At front stood Colonel Adrienne Locke, Meridian Commander. Eyes cold granite. Specialist Collins, Corporal Wells, she intoned. You're under arrest for unauthorized desertion and possession of classified materials. Astra lifted hands. Slowly, fury wrestling with calculation. Colonel, this is misunderstanding. We pursue insider threat. Spare me. Dr. Keller left digital breadcrumbs implicating you two as accomplices. Locke nodded to Sergeant beside her. Restrain. And transport to Black Site Echo. Cable ties bit wrists. Deacon met her gaze. Silent apology or reassurance, hard to read. They were marched to Matt Black MR, a P idling nearby. Astra's heart thundered not fear, but indignation. Meridian meant to bury truth in shadow. Inside vehicle, rows of seats. Faced steel bulkhead. An operator secured restraints to floor rings. MRAP rumbled off, dust plume swirling. Astra flexed fingers, trank pistol still tucked rear waistband. Unseen under overshirt, but using it here suicidal. She needed timing, operators. Radio crackled. This is Watchtower convoy reroute advised. Unidentified hello inbound, low altitude, no transponder. Driver responded. Copy scanning. A thud struck roof. Then silenced out another operator cursed, peering through roof hatch. A clink of metal abrasive hiss flooded cabin smoke grenade. Spewing thick white vapor. Operators coughed, raised rifles. Astra dropped to floor, dragging Deacon down, eyes watering. Rear doors ripped open, silhouette backlit by rising sun. A masked figure wielding suppressed SMG fired sleep darts. Operators toppled. Figure stepped in, voice muffled but unmistakable. Keller. She sliced Astra's ties. Move! Astra grabbed Deacon, both stumbling out. Keller tossed respirators. They donned, lungs grateful. She guided them to waiting utility chopper spooled up in arroyo. Rotors washed smoke aside as they boarded. Keller's slammed door, pilot throttled. Craft leapt skyward. Inside cabin, wind battered. Keller stripped mask, eyes burning bright. Glass hammer is under attack. We relocate asset. She handed tablet displaying port cargo manifest overlay. Black Shuck embedded malware into dock cranes. They plan to drop loaded containers onto fuel barges. Mass detonation. Tonight. She pointed to countdown. 14 hours, 22 minutes, and 17 seconds. Astra's mind raced. Meridian wants tech, not terror. Why help Shuck? They don't. But a splinter inside Meridian Project Seraph plays both sides to justify bigger budgets. Deacon shook head. So we can't trust anyone. Keller smiled sadly. Trust actions. And data. Speaking of which, she tapped wrist, pad, projected 3D lattice of code strings. This is Shuck's crane firmware. If we flash override before 0 hour, we neutralize threat. Astra studied pattern complex yet elegant. We'll need physical access to crane routers. Exactly. Port Gabriel at dusk. Stealth in, climb towers, plug exploit key. Astra flexed injured ankle. I'll climb. Deacon objected, but she silenced him with glare sharpened by purpose. Keller produced med injector, pressed to Astra's thigh. Cool burn. Pain blocker, lasts 8 hours, side effect, emotions sharp. Astra almost laughed. Sharper than this week? Chopper banked west, desert racing beneath, horizon smearing peach. Above engine roar, Keller leaned close, voice private. Glass. Hemmer's exposure will cripple Seraph. We just need proof. Astra nodded slowly. Then let's give the mission log a finale they can't redact. Wind shifted, rattling cabin. She glanced out port window. Distant dust trails, chased by armored vehicles. Lights flashing. Meridian already in pursuit. Astra inhaled, centering. She could almost hear phantom crowd beyond reality. Asterisk drop a, if you've ever been hunted. For doing what's right. Asterisk, The prompt buoyed her, ridiculous and perfect. She smiled grimly, sun-peaked, then slid downward. Port Gabriel cranes rose like skeletal giants over labyrinth of containers and fuel lines. Chopper descended to deserted breakwater where abandoned warehouse offered cover. They disembarked, rotors kicking gulls skyward. Pilot lifted off to loiter offshore. Keller distributed gear, climbing harnesses, fiber optic spools, encrypted thumb drives containing override. We split. I'll handle south dock cranes, you two north. Astra open panel on tranquilizer pistol. Swap darts for micro EMP tips, capable of frying small cameras. Deacon armed with suppressed carbine pilfered from MRAP. He checked. Chamber, dusk shadows stretched, harbor lights flickered on. They infiltrated perimeter via storm drain, emerged near container stacks. Harbor crew's absent shift change manipulated by Shuck's scheduling hack, leaving skeleton security easily dodged. They advanced along gantry shadows. Overhead, first crane loomed operator cabin 70 feet up a ladder caged by steel ribs. Countdown ticked, 2 hours 18 minutes and 43 seconds. Ankle throbbed despite blocker. She gripped rung, ascended, each pull measured. Halfway. Searchlight swept. Deacon whispered alert through throat mic. Astra froze until beam passed dot at top. She crawled onto narrow maintenance walkway. Crane cabin windshield reflected city glow. Inside, no operator or remote drone replacement. Perfect dot she pried service panel, exposed router case. Plugged exploit. Key. Keller's script auto-launched, console lights cycling rainbow. Progress bar. 10%. Below, patrol footsteps echoed metal walkway 2 guards. Flashlights bobbing. Astra removed pistol, set sight. Guard radios crackled. North gantry visual feed down. Investigating. Progress 42%. 55%. Guards reached. Ladder base began ascent. She glanced over rail distance too great for trank dart accuracy. She whispered to Deacon. He positioned beneath awning. Ready. Progress 73%. Guards climbed, boots ringing. At 20 feet, Deacon triggered EMP dart into floodlight ahead. Bulb exploded, showering sparks. Guards startled, cursed, halted. Progress 92%. Done. Script displayed green Wolf icon crossed by blue hammer override success. She yanked drive. Secured panel began descent. Guards resumed climb. She leapt last 10 rungs, landing poorly. Ankle screamed but held. They melted into container canyon. Distant siren wailed harbor security shifting to alert. 1 crane down, 2 remain north side, 3 south for Keller. They sprint, limp to next crane, counters ticking. Radio chirped, Keller breathless. South 2 neutralized. Encountered drones. Shots punctuated transmission. Static. Astras. Chest tightened. Keller? No response. They reached crane 2. Dock floodlights now cycling erratically. Shuck may be noticing sabotage. Astra climbed again. Faster. Pain forgotten. Halfway, automated turret on pier word to life. Engaging. Perceived intruders. Bullets pinned container roofs. Deacon darted between shadows, drawing fire. She reached cabin, repeated hack, adrenaline spiking. Turret rounds clipped ladder. Vibration rattled bones. Progress bar crawled slower. Network lag heavy, 8%, 9%. Turret pivoted upward, muzzle. Flare slicing air near her hip. She flattened, heart battering ribs. Drop if you've ever hung between bullets and a deadline. She muttered through clenched teeth. Half prayer. Progress 34%. Below. Deacon located power junction. Smashed breaker with rifle butt. Turret powered down. Twitching. Progress 68%. 87%. 100%. She secured drive. Began descent. Harbor loudspeaker. Burst with synthesized voice. Unidentified personnel cease activity. Lethal force authorized. Spotlights pivoted. A tilt rotor craft emblazoned with Meridian logo swept in. Side door gunner manning minigun. Deacon cursed. They brought the cavalry. Astra anchored harness to crane rail. Clipped carabiner to Deacon's belt. Zipline to pier warehouse. She fired grapnel line across gap, cable hissing. They slid, sparks trailing. Meridian gunner opened fire. Tracer rounds shredded air behind them, igniting gasoline sheen on water below. Cable sang but held until they crashed through warehouse skylight, tumbling onto dusty pallets. Deacon groaned. We gotta stop meeting gravity like this. Astra rolled, checking limbs bruised but intact. Countdown, 0 hours 47 minutes and 9 seconds. One crane left. North. Keller silent south. They exited warehouse opposite side, emerging near fuel barge mooring. Crane 3 towered above. Searchlights blanketed yard. Meridian troopers rappelled from Osprey. Astra's voice low. We finish. She drew deep breath, then sprinted not away, but toward enemy vector, using containers as cover. Deacon followed, laying suppressive fire. Troopers fanned. Barking. An alarm somewhere blared collision, warning the cradle carrying explosive rigged container already moving. A long crane track toward suspended fuel barge. No option for hack. Time too short. She bolted up ladder, adrenaline. Uncaging primal strength. Wounded ankle screamed mute protest as she climbed like devil on heels. At cabin, she found manual override joystick. She yanked, but control locked out remote algorithm dominant. She spotted emergency kill switch recessed behind safety glass. She smashed glass with elbow, twisted switch. Nothing. Algorithm bypassed hardware safeguard. Digital over mechanical. She scanned cabin old fuse breaker panel under seat. Pulling main fuse would kill entire crane including brakes. Load could free fall, but maybe drop short of target barge by angle. She hesitated. Calculations in mind. Container currently at mid-swing. Arc. Severing power would let inertia carry, but less than full trajectory. She prayed. She ripped fuse. Lights died. Motors ground silent. Load sway slowed, then gravity took command. Container began descending along arc, cables groaning. Below, Deacon shouted, waving arms. Fuel barge lay 10 meters south of projected impact. Maybe safe, but second barge moored starboard might catch debris. Astra dashed onto narrow girder, balancing above abyss, drew multi-tool, and cut redundant tether directing arc vector. Sparks showered. Container's path altered a hair. She dove back into cabin as cables snapped. 20-ton steel box plummeted, slamming concrete pier with cataclysmic crash, sending fountain of flame, not from fuel but ruptured power conduits. Shockwave tossed her against console. Glass shattered. Alarms screamed. Fireball rolled upward, painting night orange. But barges intact. Flood suppression foam cannons engaged. Relief surged, but Osprey spotlights zeroed on her position. Gunner spun barrel. She ducked, glass shards biting scalp. Loudspeaker. Collins, surrender. Locke's voice. Astra crawled to open hatch, glanced down dizzying height water streaked with burning sheens. No time. She latched harness to guide rail, flung herself off cabin, rappelling fast as bullets chewed metal overhead. Halfway down, harness jerked, carabiner shot through. She dangled, weight spinning. Gunfire stitched closer. Cable strands snapped one by one. Below, Deacon raced. Arms outstretched. Impossible distance. Final wire twanged. Astra fell. Gravity roared past ears, wind flogging bruises. She counted heartbeats. Waited for brutal embrace of concrete. Instead, cold water swallowed her. She'd crashed into harbor, not pier. Pain radiated but consciousness held. She kicked upward. Brace hindered, lungs burning. Surface erupted in fireworks of tracer rounds hitting water. She forced dive deeper, darkness cloaking. She swam, mind-chanting metrics. 30 seconds to hypoxia threshold. Angle toward hull shadow for cover. She surfaced beneath barge, clinging to slimy keel. Gasping silent dot above. Voices shouted. Searchlights scoured ripples. Countdown timer vibrated on wrist. 0 hours 11 minutes and 58 seconds. South cranes? Keller. She gripped steel, heart pounding, mind burning with question. Had they truly prevented catastrophe, or merely delayed greater terror? A clank echoed against hull magnetic device, clicking inches from her ear, red LED flashing fast. Explosive? Tracker? She stared, pulse stalling. LED timer displayed. 0 hours 0 minutes and 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Her scream drowned in water as she shoved off into darkness. Water swallowed Astor Collins in a black shuddering vortex that tasted of diesel and rust. The shock of the plunge still throbbed behind her eyes when the magnetic device's timer bled down its last seconds above. She kicked away from the barge. Keel, boots fighting drag, lungs already aching. The brace on her injured ankle shrieked protest in the form of a needle-bright pain. But adrenaline sanded the edge. 4 seconds. She thrust arms forward, slicing through murk toward the dim blue. Shimmer where harbor lights filtered down. Her hands brushed a rope trailing from some unseen bollard. She grabbed, pulled, coiling it around her wrist for leverage. 1 second. The blast ripped the night apart. Even submerged, the concussive waves slapped her like a giant hand. Pressure pounded eardrums. Bubbles roared past in a white tempest. The harbor floor rose to meet her in a spiraling tumble. She tucked chin, curled, let the life vest absorb shock against concrete slabs spotted with barnacles. Shrapnel clanged against steel hulls above. A mad bell choir ringing alarms across the docks. Flames geysered upward in a sick orange bloom, lighting the water as though a second sun had crashed onto the pier. Under that hellish lantern, she saw twisted silhouettes of catwalks raining sparks. When the turbulence eased, she clawed her way back toward the surface. Every meter felt carved from granite. The brace resisted symmetrical kick rhythm, turning what should have been sleek strokes into lopsided thrash. Her lungs burned, demanding air, promising dark relief if denied. Her head punched through oily film. She coughed, drew smoky oxygen, and flattened herself against the underside of a listing skiff, whose hull paint peeled like blistered skin. Above the pier, meridian spotlights swept frantic arcs, illuminating floating debris and tongues of fire still licking towards starless sky. Somewhere to the south, a second explosion rumbled, a deep-throated growl that threatened avalanche. Keller? No confirmation. Radio was waterlogged. Astra cursed softly. The mission clock had collapsed into chaos, and the only threads of order lay muddled inside her churning mind. A searchlight cone paused on the water less than 30 meters away. Voices barked through bullhorns, unintelligible over distant alarms. She inhaled, filling lungs halfway to float silently, and let the skiff's shadow cloak her as the beam slid past. She needed allies. Deacon had last been on the pier, Keller unknown. She clipped tongue against molar where a subdermal transmitter rested, praying microelectronics had survived the plunge. A red LED inside her vision lens flickered. Signal lost. Her makeshift plan formed quickly. Reach dry land beyond the restricted perimeter. Regroup with Deacon if alive. Find Keller, and finish neutralizing the final cranes by sunrise. Easy bullet points execution nightmare. A small inflatable dinghy drifted near, dislodged by blast. She paddled silently, seized the rope handle, and hauled herself over the tube. The cockpit took on water but would float. She used a broken oar to steer toward the far breakwater where civilian sailboats moored in neat lines. No spotlights there. Yet, *Droppa, if you've ever felt the night itself breathing down your neck, she thought, a grim mantra that steadied heartbeat. The audience in her head remained. Perhaps it always would. The dinghy bumped against a teak stern ladder. She climbed, muscles trembling, and rolled onto deck. The sailboat's sea raconteur, satin letters read, sat quiet, its owners likely evacuated or partying ashore. She limped below to cabin and rummaged emergency chest, thermal blanket, flare gun, a handheld VHF radio inside waterproof pouch. She keyed the channel Keller once used for encrypted bursts. Static, she tried base frequency. Crackle, all. Units regroup, North Terminal compromised, repeat. Compromise, suspect Keller, with hostiles. Markham's voice, tense. So Keller labeled traitor now. Astra's jaw set. She toggled to open Maritime Channel 16. Deacon, this is Collins. If you copy, mark with steady light port crane. Over. Silence, she toggled again. Keller, respond, over. More static, then a scratch. Straw. Line jammed, moving south slipway. Watcha, signal cut. Enough to know Keller alive, heading south slipway. Astra rated first aid kit for fresh gauze. Retaped her ribs, injected another dose of Keller's pain blocker into thigh. The world sharpened. Colors richer, every sound a detail. Risky but necessary. She strapped flare gun at hip. Replaced empty trank darts with the few remaining EMP heads, waterproofed pistol. Then she slipped back onto deck and assessed harbor. Flames at Crane 3 waned under fire suppression foam. Meridian Osprey now hovered near Central Control Tower, floodlights glaring. Troopers assembled casualty litters. Chaos disguised opportunity, their attention inward, not outward. She lowered herself into water again, quieter than starting the sailboat engine, and swam beneath. Docks until wooden pilings became concrete pylons of the south slipway. Here, high stacks of shipping containers formed a canyon. Dock workers' brake shed lights flickered weakly, generator rattling. A shadow detached from the corner. Astra? Deacon's whisper, hoarse. Relief cracked her stern resolve. She pulled onto narrow ledge. He offered hand, hauling her up. His face was grime-streaked, lips split, but eyes burned alive. Thought you were fish food, he muttered. Double quotes almost. Keller, she radioed me 10 minutes ago. Said to meet at Slipway 9. He pointed east where moonlight silvered rows of massive container cranes. Then we move. Crane overrides complete. I managed last North Tower after you fell. South, no idea. Keller disabled 2 but faced drones. Astra wet cough. We finish job and extract evidence before Meridian whitewashes. Deacon smirked. Another easy night. They limped through container labyrinth, using shadows and mis-stacked pallets for concealment. Twice patrols passed unaware. Sirens echoed distant, now punctuated by hiss of sprinkler monitors drenching hot metal. Slipway 9 opened onto wider berth where a row ferry squatted with ramp yawning. 2 cranes loomed overhead, their long arms like praying mantis limbs frozen in half-strike. A small speedboat idled beside ramp. Keller crouched on deck, waving. They hurried down ramp, boots clanging. Keller met them midway. Blood smeared her sleeve, but her smile flashed sharp as broken glass. I was about to leave breadcrumbs, she said. South Cranes? Astra asked. Both neutralized, Keller confirmed. But Mayor Seraph activated kill teams. We have minutes before they triangulate this boat. She tossed Astra a hardened tablet. Full dataset from Black Shuck firmware. With your mission. Logs and crane footage. Glass Hammer can prove Mayor Seraph colluded in terror staging. Astra strapped tablet inside chestplate pocket. What's extraction? International waters, Keller said. Hammer vessel waiting 10 nautical miles south. We punch past breakwater on this rocket sled. Deacon eyed the twin-engine boat. Lovely, but pier gate is sealed and Osprey still overhead. Keller's grin widened. We create distraction. See that ferry? Loaded with scrap vehicles for export. Its deck fuel tanks are nearly empty. We rig pyrotechnics to mimic engine fire, draw meridian. Then slip under their nose. Astra finished. Exactly. They boarded Ferry's car deck, planted magnesium flares among oily rags, attached timed detonators repurposed from Astra's EMP darts. Timer, 3 minutes. As final flare set, Keller paused, gaze distant. Thank you for trusting me. Trust. Still fragile, but Astra nodded. Let's prove both of us right. They sprinted to speedboat. Keller throttled engines. Mufflers bubbled suppressed roar. Deacon manned bow with borrowed night vision goggles. Flare detonation lit Ferry as they eased away, casting monstrous shadows. Smoke bellowed, alarm klaxons triggered. Meridian troopers converged, Osprey banking to inspect. Spotlight fixed on Inferno, ignoring quiet wake splitting darkness beyond. Keller gunned throttles. Hull planed, spray hissed. Astra clung to rail. Ankle screaming in vibration. Harbor receded. Breakwater gap loomed 2 concrete arms with chain boom between. Keller steered toward narrow maintenance channel left unchained, nearly clear when muzzle flashes erupted from watchpost. Tracers stitched water. Deacon returned fire in short bursts, forcing guards to duck. They cleared gap, engines screaming. Full. But behind, Osprey peeled from fire, searchlight swinging toward fleeing craft. Keller cursed, pushed throttles till needles hovered red. Wake frothed luminous under half-moon. Osprey closed, minigun whining cold prelude. Astra yanked flare gun, loaded last projectile die marker for maritime distress, bright phosphor. She waited until searchlight beam hit water behind them, then fired into spray. The flare ignited a curtain of chemical fog, dense and light, absorbing. Osprey's sensors flared blooming white. Pilot banked to avoid collision with unseen obstacle. In those seconds, the speedboat cut south beyond weapon range. Asterisk droppa. If you've ever gambled everything on a single spark. Asterisk 20 minutes later. City lights dimmed behind horizon. Salt air turned wilder. Radar blip appeared traveling opposite course. Glass hammer vessel. Call sign Verity. A lean gray sloop with low radar cross-section. They rendezvoused. Crew helped them aboard. Speedboat scuttled to destroy trace. On deck, a tall woman in weather-stained coat greeted. I'm Captain Alara Voigt. Welcome to Truth's last lighthouse. Below deck, secure room glowed in soft green from server racks humming off marine batteries. Voigt's crew connected Astra's tablet, mission log, drone footage. Data mirrored to offshore nodes. Once uplink completes, files are immutable, Voigt said. Even if Hammer sinks, truth floats. Keller sighed relief. Astra scanned. Monitors, upload bar, 9%. She sagged into chair. Exhaustion reclaimed neglected debts. She felt the moment approaching where adrenaline would shatter into tremor and nausea. But not yet. Deacon returned from infirmary with stitched lip. Galley has coffee so strong it might wake the dead. She managed a tired smile. Sudden thump shook hull. Crew scrambled. Depth charge? Someone yelled. Voigt peered at sonar blip. Representing fast craft closing, Meridian patrol boat. They dropped warning charge. Keller's jaw tightened. International waters, Voigt shrugged. Lines blur when power draws the map. Loudspeaker hail sliced night. Unidentified. Vessel, heaved to for inspection. Refusal constitutes hostile intent. Upload 25%. Voigt signaled engine room. Full sail won't outrun them. We need stalling tactic. Astra's gaze fell on sealed crate marked buoyant sensor pods. Idea sparked. We can broadcast decoy data signatures. Keller raised brow. Explain. These pods host low-power servers. We copy partial file shards, then jettison pods in 3 directions. Patrol will chase pings thinking they carry full data, buying time. Voigt smiled grimly. Do it. Crew rushed to prep pods. Astra and Keller sliced file into lure packets, each cleverly fingerprinted to mimic full archive. They programmed pods with looping encryption handshakes. At 38% upload, 3 hatches opened. Pods splashed starboard, port, and aft. Each released small foil balloon antenna, broadcasting. Patrol boat radar lit with multiple returns. Confusion crackled over radio. Multiple contacts advise. Command delay snared them in analysis. While Verity sailed onward, upload 51%. Hope swelled, then radar flagged inbound missile. Airframe cold. Voigt's eyes widened. They switched to kinetic solution. Phosphor streak carved night missile homing on main transmitter dome. Voigt shouted dive order. Crew dashed below. Astra grabbed rail as missile struck aft quarter. Explosion flung her across cabin. Darkness swallowed senses in chaotic tumble. She woke to sloshing water and alarm klaxons. Cabin tilted 40 degrees. Smoke choked narrow hall. Emergency red. Beacons blinked. She crawled, ribs shrieking. To come console. Upload 73%. Transfer stalled, antenna destroyed. Without uplink. Evidence trapped on sinking ship. Deacon limped into view, supporting wounded crewmen. Hull breach aft. We're taking water. Astra's mind raced. They could repair antenna or use alternative transmitter. She remembered flare gun shell of old high-altitude balloon in survival kit intended for weather readings. If they could loft a makeshift repeater above jamming range, maybe finish upload. She voiced plan. Keller, coughing smoke, pointed to storm locker forward. Weather balloon kits there. They gathered helium canister, mylar balloon, microtransmitter salvageable from pod. Time against them. Ship rolled deeper, water flooded lower decks. They scrambled to foredeck, were still above waves. Wind gusted, sails tattered. With fumbling urgency, they inflated balloon. Tied transmitter wired to server via spooled fiber line. Meridian patrol now visible 800 meters off bow. Searchlight stabbing. Machine gun fire peppered water. The crew raised makeshift steel shield wall while Astra and Keller launched balloon. It ascended, cable unfurling, transmitter LED blinking. Green once perched 200 meters overhead. Upload resumed, 74%. 76%, but cable strained as ship listed further. At 80%, aft deck underwater, bow pitched skyward, crew launched lifeboats. Voigt yelled, abandon. Astra refused. She clung to railing monitoring bar, 82%. 83%. What if cable snaps? Deacon shouted, we'll rig power bank to balloon transmitter with last chunk of data and let it drift. Keller suggested, do it. They unplugged fiber, copied remaining 17% to portable SSD, slotted into transmitter mount, initiated autonomous upload completion algorithm. LED blinked blue, processing. Astra cut nylon tether. Balloon drifted skyward, freed from doomed hull. Climbing above small arms range, crew jumped to lifeboats as Verity's bow pointed starward before sliding under with mournful groan. Ocean hissed over deck, swallowing secrets, but balloon soared carrying truth. Patrol boat circled, searchlights futile against black canvas where balloon became speck among stars. On life raft, soaked and shivering, Astra watched LED fade. She opened wrist monitor, remote heartbeat of balloon still pulsing. Upload 91%, 93%. She allowed breath. Winds slapped salt spray, tang home to every sense. She closed eyes, letting exhaustion drape like heavy cloak, but Keller's gasp snapped. Her back. Over eastern horizon, faint silhouette of drone swarm, advanced dozens of small craft and chevron. Likely Black Shucks contingency, drawn to beacon of data. Astra's heart lurched. The balloon could finish upload before drones intercept, or they could shoot it down first. Countdown. Upload 95%. Drones closed fast. Tiny nav lights, sinister fireflies. Lifeboat had no weapons except Deacon's half-wet carbine and flare gun useless at altitude. Keller fumbled waterproof sat phone, called Hammer Network, but jamming drenched frequencies. Upload 97%. The lead drone fired micro-missile. Vapor trail arc toward balloon. Upload 98%. Astra snatched flare gun. Loaded last star shell, aimed steep angle. She exhaled, hearing father's calm whistle through memories, and pulled trigger. Flare streaked bright, colliding with missile. Mid-air and dazzling bloom. Explosion rocked, but shrapnel still peppered balloon. Envelope tore, helium bleeding. Balloon sagged, falling but still transmitting. Upload 99%. Second drone fired. Too late, balloon almost sea level. Missile overcorrected, slammed ocean behind raft. Upload 100%. Tablet beeped. Asterisk archive immutable. Public mirror live. Asterisk a wave of vindication surged. Drones. Objective lost. Veered to lifeboat. Machine guns whining. Astra braced. Empty weapon useless. She locked eyes with Deacon. Silent gulf of shared fate. Sudden roar overhead, fast mover. Jet at wave top altitude, afterburner screaming. A heat-seeking missile lanced forth, shredding drone cluster in chain explosions. Jet flashed by, hallmarkings U.S. Air Force. Radio on lifeboat crackled open. Spartan 6, we have visual. On survivors. Sit tight. Relief twisted to disbelief, but Astra's last reserves snapped. The world blurred sepia. She slumped against Deacon. His voice distant. Stay with me. She wanted to answer, to tell him the mission log would show everything. But darkness swarmed like merciful fog. Her eyelids fell. Something beeped steady, measured, too clean for sea. She smelled antiseptic again. She surfaced in medical ward, this one land-based, white walls, morning sun spilling through slatted blinds, machines monitored vitals. Her ankle now in cast, arm in sling. Keller sat bedside, reading newsfeed on holo display. When Astra's eyes opened, Keller gave weary smile and projected headline. Asterisk top secret terror plot exposed. Leaked logs implicate rogue defense program. Asterisk subheader scrolled details. Mayor Seraph under congressional investigation. Port Gabriel. Attack thwarted by unnamed operatives. Astra closed eyes, exhaled shaky, mixture of joy and dread. Footsteps tapped. Colonel Locke appeared flanked by MPs, face carved from marble. She dismissed guards with a hand, approached alone, gaze unreadable. Specialist Collins. Locke began, voice quiet but edged. I came to say two things. First, the data leak. You brokered forced oversight that may save countless lives. Second, until the dust settles, you and your associates remain persons of interest. Effective immediately, you are confined to this facility. Keller bristled. We acted under moral imperative. Locke met her stare. And I'm charged with national security. Sometimes those align, sometimes not. Higher courts will untangle. She pivoted for door. Astra mustered raspy voice. Colonel, who ordered missile on Verity? Locke paused. An overzealous commander who misread threat board. He's been relieved. She left. Keller sank into chair, tension sagging. So, we're heroes and suspects. Par for course, Deacon said, entering with crutches, grin lopsided. He held up bag of fast food coffee. Stole these from cafeteria. Astra accepted cup, breathed aroma. Future uncertain, but victory tasted of bitter roast. Sudden commotion outside corridor, raised voices, running staff. Keller peeked, returned pale. Mayor Seraph loyalists staged walkout. Reports of chain custody of classified drones missing. Astra's pulse quickened. Black shuck again? Or copycats with deeper pockets? Keller muttered. Hospital intercom chimed code silver security incident. Door auto-locked. Shutters sealed. Lights flickered. Emergency red. Deacon shifted stance. Guess rest period's over. Astra swung legs off bed, wincing. She checked drawer, no weapons. She grabbed 4-pole as crutch. We need intel. Keller accessed tablet, eyebrows climbing. Network feed offline. Something inside building jamming signals. Inside? Astra repeated. Deacon scanned room, eyes narrowing on vent grate where faint buzzing slipped through. He ripped grate off. A palm-sized drone zipped out, lens gleaming. Astra swung 4-pole too slow. Device shot to ceiling, embedded prongs into sprinkler head. Red light pulse. Sprinklers activated, but rather than water, fine mist aerosolized, carrying strange sweet scent. Keller coughed, eyes watering. Neurosuppressant, she gasped. They covered mouths with sheets, but dizziness seeped. Astra's vision blurred edges. She stumbled toward exit, typed override on panel locked. Drone's red LED blazed brighter, emitting high-pitched whine, joining others beyond walls. Across hallway, alarms shifted to warble, then to silence. Footsteps heavy approached a squad in black tactical suits, Wolf emblem gleaming. Black Shuck breached the hospital. Astra steadied, willpower thin. She lifted 4-pole, helmetless, but raging. Door explosives detonated inward. She faced blinding gun-mounted flashlight, heard safety click disengage, and thought, *mission logs may show who saved them, but who saves us now? The blast punched the door inward, slapping fluorescent debris across Astra Collins's face before she could lift the 4-pole. Cold open hook, 35 words. Paint flecks stung her eyes, but she still saw the muzzle flash first and fired. Reflex over reason, willing a half-empty saline bag to do what body armor could not. Muzzle thunder drowned the hiss of the narcotic mist that still hung like artificial fog. The saline bag ruptured, fluid spraying into the path of the first rounds. Bullets lost lethal velocity as they tore through viscous plastic. Still, they shredded the cabinet door behind Astra, sending splinters like miniature spears. She used the chaos to duck behind the rolled steel gurney Deacon had overturned just seconds earlier. East stairwell. He shouted, voice muffled by the cotton strip they'd tied over their mouths. Rounds hammered the medical bedframe as though it were sheet metal, not steel. Paint curled in heat. Sparks pinwheeled across linoleum already slick with chemical. Suppressant. Astra's left hand trembled, half numb from the IV jab she'd ripped out. She stuffed the cuff's needle head against the rubber tubing of the gurney's hydraulic strut, creating a makeshift blowgun of pressurized fluid. When she squeezed the 4-bag, a hard jet of saline arced through the mist, catching one of the breaching operators full in the eyes. The man recoiled, grip loosening. Deacon fired a 3-round burst from the confiscated carbine. The operator's night vision visor cracked like sugar glass. He dropped. Another agent dragged him aside, barking code that sounded more maritime. Special ops than Homeland Defense. Astra counted 3 bodies in the doorway, 1 down, 2 pushing left and right in textbook crossfire. Their wolf head shoulder patches confirmed Black Shuck, not Meridian. She felt a sting of feigned surprise that Mayor Seraph's own mercs would show up so soon after the congressional leak. Then again, cockroaches scatter only to regroup in new corners. * drop a in the chat if you've ever seen a problem multiply the second you solved it. * She shoved the gurney toward Deacon, creating mobile cover, grabbed Locke's dropped pass card from the floor, and slid it across stained linoleum toward Keller. The older woman was crouched behind the overturned isolation cart, eyes red, lab coat spattered with iodine. Keller snatched the card and ran for the back hallway, trusting the card could unlock something vital. Give her 20 seconds, Astra hissed. She'd run 1,000 drills on barricaded defense. Every heartbeat was a mile bought for all eyes. Deacon nodded. Swap to semi-auto to conserve ammo. You owe me a quiet dinner after this. Put it on my tab, she muttered, then whipped a kidney dish of surgical scalpels overhand toward the doorway. Knives clattered like coins, the unexpected distraction causing one Shuck gunman to flinch left. Deacon tapped the gap double tap, center mass. The man collapsed, exhale lost inside the respirator. Only one intruder remained up. He lobbed a tear gas micro canister. Astra was already moving. She popped upright to baseball, bat the can back out with her four-pole before it could discharge. It bounced down the corridor, vented its white load into Shuck's own advance. Wedge, drop a if you've ever returned a gift you never asked for. They seized momentum, vaulted the barricade, sprinted down the hall past stunned operators hacking through gas of their own making. Alarms changed tone. Whoop whoop gave way to a low drone, fire suppression. No, emergency lockdown override. Doors along the ward slammed shut like dominoes. Keller's doing. They found her at a nurse's station bank, fingertips dancing. Across security terminal keys like a concert pianist improvising wars. Locke's badge flashed green. Keller's bypass script blinked queries. Magnetic deadbolts chunked open on one hallway leading deeper into research wing. Pediatric MRI. Bay is built inside Faraday shielding, she said. Signals can't penetrate. Secure fallback until we map exit. Works for me, Astra said, noticing the tremor in her own voice only after spoken. The last dose of pain blocker waned. Her ankle throbbed like rusted steel under tension. They limped through the MRI corridor and sealed the fire door behind them with a manual latch. In the silent cocoon of thick copper-lined walls, the war outside became a distant dream. Astra collapsed onto a rolling stool, sweat mixing with chemical mist residue that clung to her hair. Status check, she panted. Keller used surgical scissors to cut the cast cloth edge to relieve swelling. Deacon replaced the mag in his carbine, counting rounds 11 left. Shuck will breach within 5 minutes, Keller said. They'll torch anything. We need comms. No radio, Deacon pointed out. Copper shield kills everything. Exactly why we're safe, Keller said, but also blind. Astra massaged temples. Adrenaline spike ebbed, leaving mental clarity that tasted like cold iron. Faraday cage can also be an antenna if we reroute plating. We can send a single pulse encoded as a medical equipment surge. Might trigger hospital's off-site telemetry alarm. Meridian's watchers will dispatch backup. Keller's brows rose. Utilize MRI's gradient coil to create modulated burst. Ingenious but meltdown risk. Meltdown is relative, Astra said, pushing herself up on bad ankle. They stripped cables from the gradient amplifier, connected them across Keller's portable battery pack, and coded a repeating pattern. So. In short energy spikes disguised as equipment calibration error. Fire it, Astra said. Keller engaged sequence. Transformer hummed like a trapped hornet. Fluorescent lights dimmed, then flickered. Frame of the MRI tube vibrated. Iron core saturating, Deacon warned. Pulse out, Keller said, cutting power. A smell of hot varnish filled room. Outside. An explosion echoed. Shuck breaching reinforced door. No time to confirm if their call bled beyond. They barricaded inner hallway with supply carts, then began scanning vent shafts. It was Astra who spotted the maintenance ladder hidden behind. A flex duct panel only large enough for one person at a time, climbing 3 stories up to a rooftop vacant farm. Their best Hail Mary. She let Keller ascend first, Deacon next, then followed, dragging the damaged ankle, each wrung like a reluctant child. Halfway, bullets punched holes in wall below. Shuck had found them. Astra's arms burned, but she climbed. The shaft terminated under a corrugated access hatch. Deacon slammed shoulder. Panel popped free. Daylight, real daylight, poured in. Dawn bruised sky pink over hospital roof. They emerged amid colossal fans spinning wind howling white noise. Keller sealed hatch with dropped wrench jammed through hinge. It would hold a minute maybe. Roof perimeter was ringed by floodlights and motion sensors, but the neuro missed. Had triggered building purge, systems offline. Smoke and flashing red lost on wind. Keller pointed to a helipad across parapet. Meridian's medevac chopper landed pre-dawn for supply. If fueled, we fly. Keys? Astra asked. Keypad. Start. My code still valid if locks override not revoked. They ran. Fan belts screeched beneath their feet. Wind tossed Keller's hair across her eyes. Below, hatch metal groaned. Shuck climbers would appear any second. Helipad glowed, lonely rectangle. With single H rotorless Eco 135, parked like a sleeping dragonfly. Keller hopped into cockpit, typed code. Panel beeped, canopy lights up. Hot battery. Deacon slid into co-pilot, reading checklists. Adrenaline replaced training gaps with intuition. Astra hauled door cargo latch. In cabin, only empty stretcher and trauma rack. She secured sling for her ankle just as first Shuck shooter appeared at roof ledge. Deacon revved turbine. Blades roared to life, rounds cracked glass. Bullet-resistant windshield held spider. Web fractures. Keller pulled collective. Craft lifted wobbling into sunrise. Shuck fired RPG. Astra saw smoke, yelled. Deacon punched cyclic forward. Helicopter pitched nose down, skipping rotor over vent stacks. RPG hissed wide. Exploded against power conduit tower. Gigantic bloom of sparks cascaded. The ECA 135 cleared rooftop. River of morning light flooding cabin. But the chopper's status board blinked red across fuel gauge, only 25%. Enough for 40 minutes of flight. Destination? Keller shouted over rotors. Any safe airfield, Astra yelled. None safe. Meridian compromised. We outfly their grid and find private farm strip, Deacon said. They angled southeast, skimming tree line. City shrank behind smog haze. Astra wrapped strap across chest, allowed mine to inventory damage. Cast cracked. Ribs bruised, bullet graze along triceps, dehydration. But alive. She closed eyes, hearing father's voice. Asterisk precision buys time. Time buys lives. Asterisk she'd spent both, but maybe banked enough for final account. Keller jacked satellite uplink from cockpit. Secure channel to glass hammer nodes still operational. Story already trending. Hashtag Wolfmask lie across feeds. Public outraged. Congressional subpoenas served, but Mayor Seraph denied. Spin doctors painting leak as disinformation. Without Shuck leader testimony, truth diluted. Then we get confession, Astra muttered. Deacon heard. Head of Black Shuck rumored safe house off grid Evergreen Observatory 4 hours out. Observable path, Keller said. Old. Radio telescope array private foundation now front company. That's where Shuck exfil routes converge. If we land in nearby foothills, we can infiltrate. Fuel low, but they could refuel at rural ag strip and route risk but manageable. Astra eyed horizon blazing copper. Part 5 needed a stormy middle. This fit. Infiltration of mountain facility for final part resolution. Asterisk asterisk audience prompt number 3. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Drop. A. If you've ever decided the only way out was straight through the fire. Asterisk. They landed on dirt runway of sleepy crop dusting co-op. Old ranch hand looked up from fueling rig, startled by sudden med chopper arrival. Cash and forged emergency papers, smoothed transaction. 20 minutes later, they lifted again, tanks full. Weather shifted. Thunderheads massed over foothills. The observatory's 6 white dishes like giant lily awaited. No visible guards from air stealth favored. They landed a mile out of tree line. Keller produced suppressed SMG from trauma kit, false bottom, always a plan within plan. Dusk approached. Integers of time marched towards something irreversible. Astra, Deacon, and Keller hiked through pine undergrowth. Rain began soft needles on needles. Static electricity hummed sky angry. Observatory gate unmanned but electronic. Keller used passcode gleaned from scraped badge logs inside leaked firmware. Lock clicked. They slipped inside campus, moving between maintenance sheds. Main. Control building lights glowed sterile. Through windows, silhouettes moved techs orchestrating remote drone swarms. Shuck Central. They split. Keller to server vault. Deacon to power plant to set EMP charges. Astra to atrium to secure vantage. Inside atrium, modern art sculpture reflected violet track lighting. Astra ascended balcony overlooking ops floor. She counted 8. Techs, 2 armed guards. At center, a tall figure with silver hair and wolf head Pinshuck's founder, Lucian Gray. Gray addressed team. Upload failed, but our buyer wants blood, not data. Next phase starts now. Target, Northeast Grid Substation. Midnight. Astra's skin crawled. Another attack hours away. She keyed throat mic. Target planning new strike. Must stop tonight. Keller whispered she'd reach server room. Copying kill codes. Deacon wired EMP but needed 3 minutes. Astra raised her tranq pistol, aimed at guard on balcony opposite. Trigger squeezed. Dart thudded into neck. Man slumped silently. She moved to second guard. Dart misfired, clattering. Onto stair. Guard spun. Fired burst. Glass shattered. Alarm screamed. Ops floor erupted. Tech scattered. Lucian Gray looked up, met Astra's gaze with amused calm. He raised remote detonator with thumb poised. Shoot him! Keller shouted income. Astra fired but remote bulletproof glass shield. Blocked. Gray laughed, retreated to secure elevator. Deacon's EMP mini charge detonated simultaneously. Lights died. Monitors blank. Elevator halted between floors. Gray trapped. Astra limped downstairs, breath ragged. She reached elevator shaft, pried emergency hatch, aimed pistol through opening. Lucian Gray, by authority of, he interrupted with amused sigh. Authority is a currency inflated tonight. You could kill me, but my dead man switch triggers, cascade drones preset. Then you'll disarm, she said. He smiled in dim emergency light. Negotiate? Alarms outside grew. Meridian vehicles inbound. They'd tracked helicopter. Time fractured into splinters. Keller joined its shaft, brandishing file of kill codes. Gray laughed. Codes worthless without biometric chain. Astra felt weight. Shoot and risk switch. Spare and risk plan strike. She toggled mic off private. Gray, prove switch. He thumbed button lightly. Nearby monitor flickered show substation schematics. Real. No bluff. Liability to linchpin flickered across her memory. Ideas sparked. What if fail-safe stub overrides your trigger by piggyback? She asked. Keller, possible. His switch uses LoRa burst. We scramble packet mid-flight via local repeater. Keller eyes lit. Gray scowled. Interesting, but you lack time. Watch us, Astra said. Keller sprinted to repeater closet. Begin code. Deacon blocked hallway, holding incoming Meridian cross team. Gunfight peppered plaster. Gray listened. To code tap echo above. He sighed. You remind me of myself 20 years ago. Idealism tastes sweet until bankrolled. Astra kept pistol trained. Idealism built mission logs that exposed you, he chuckled. I'm simply crafter of mirrors. People choose what to see. Keller shouted, ready. Astra spoke. Release switch now. Gray eyed her through gloom. Thunder shook building. He smirked, opened fingers theatrically. Remote fell, clattered. Astra caught mid-air, pressed kill code activation. Monitor flashed command override accepted. Substation schematic vanished. Gray's shoulders dropped, then he lunged upward, grappling elevator cables, climbing. Astra shot. Bullet grazed his calf. He howled but kept climbing. Elevator jerked, power restored by Meridian outside. Cab surged upward with Gray on top, crushing him into shaft ceiling with sickening crunch. Metal groaned to halt. Keller returned, saw elevator dripping. That's one way. Meridian breach charges boomed front entrance. Deacon yelled fallback. Keller grabbed data shards. Astra pocketed remote proof. They dashed to rear annex. Rain hammered roof as alarms clashed. They burst onto disarray catwalks. Lightning forked across horizon. Meridian spotlights cut sky beams. They sprinted across slippery mesh toward forest edge where old funicular. Car rested. Bullets sparked on railings at FUNICUL. Our cables groaned. Car rolled downhill uncontrolled. They jumped aboard, gravity ripping them away from firefight. Car rattled down mountainside, wind whipping faces. Below, river gorge awaited. Derelict trestle bridge busted mid-span long ago. Funicular track ended abruptly into void. Astra looked ahead, throat dry. We'll jump before gap, Deacon said. Speed insane. Brake lever rusted. Astra gripped side rail, preparing. Car hit broken section, launched off track like sled. Air howled, wood splintered. They were airborne above chasm. Astra pushed Keller out first toward pine canopy. Deacon and she followed. World spun green-gray mist. She crashed through branches, slammed into cold mud on gorge bank. Distant sound of funicular wreck exploding somewhere deeper. Head swam, ears rang. She rolled, saw Deacon breathing, Keller groaning but moving. Ridge, Meridian helicopters hovered, searchlights fanning like angry gods. Lightning cracked again, igniting tinder on hillside. They crawled deeper into underbrush, hearts thunder. Thunder answered. Rain intensified, washing blood but not fear. Astra pulled remote from pocket still intact, proof of override success, but inside LED blinked red. Failsafe arming 45 minutes and 0 seconds. Gray's dead man switch had secondary timer for fallback target, something bigger. Keller gasped, reading display. It's wired to low orbit CubeSats ready to drop kinetic rods. If timer completes, whole eastern grid crippled. Astra stared through rain at horizon flicker. Clock ticking toward nightmare. Somewhere above, helicopter rotors pivoted, search. Narrowing onto gorge. Astra swallowed dread. Part 6 would rise or everything would fall by that timer. Run, she whispered to teammates. Grip tightening on device, beeping doom, because the real mission log just started writing its final entry. The sky ripped itself open with lightning as Astra Collins sprinted through knee-deep mud, knowing 44 minutes remained before metal spears rained from orbit. Morning refused to brighten beyond steel. Rain hammered pine needles into fragrant mush while gusts slapped branches sideways. Astra's borrowed fatigue jacket clung heavy, its fabric drinking downpour. Every step jarred her fractured ankle despite splinting tape, but pain served as metronome. Each pulse measured 1 second stolen from a ticking apocalypse. Deacon Wells ranged to her right, weaving between slick boulders, his carbine swaddled in a waterproof maintenance rag. Behind them, Dr. Naomi Keller fought to keep up, clutching a ruggedized laptop against her chest. The magnesium casing already dented from their crash through the tree canopy. Overhead, the whisper thrum of search helicopters ebbed in and out as squalls shoved cloud curtains across the gorge. They followed a deer trail rising toward the crest northwest, away from the observatory and meridian cordon toward a cluster of relayed dishes Keller suspected hit a covert CubeSat uplink. According to the dead man device now blinking inside Astra's pocket, Lucian Gray's secondary timer would command those satellites if not manually aborted. Once fired, tungsten rods would kinetic strike 3 power facilities serving 80 million civilians. The attacks would plunge half a continent into darkness and prove Black Shuck's relevance despite the public leak. Astra focused breath. In through nose 2 counts, out through mouth 4. Her father's sniper calm for body under duress. Every inhale smelled of ozone and sap. Every exhale fogged instantly, cold enough to sting cracked lips. They crested ridge. Below stretched a plateau of damp grass and scrub, dotted by 4 unassuming maintenance huts and a central mast wrapped with microwave dishes. Past it, the land dropped steeply toward the river. No road, just a rutted service track half washed by erosion. Good vehicles would struggle. Deacon raised hand, signaled crouch. Through swaying fir limbs, Astra spotted 2 armed figures, patrolling between huts, wearing rain ponchos over tactical gear. Wolf head patches again. She counted rhythms of their route. 13-meter spacing, sightlines poor due to vegetation. She mouthed, 2. Deacon pointed left, she nodded right. Keller huddled behind trunk, opening laptop despite drizzle. She tethered via secure boot dongle to Gray's switch. Code ran across screen in green serpents. She whispered, "I can stall timer 10 minutes. By feeding heartbeat loops, but we still need hard abort at uplink panel." Astra's mind-mapped plan. Neutralize guards quietly, splice into mast control, authenticate Gray's biometrics via severed finger maybe? No elevator crushed him. But remote's capacitive ID still valid, maybe pass through. Keller could adapt. Unknowns stacked but timeline unforgiving, she signaled go. They split. Astra limped downward along deer trail, using wind hiss to hide movement. She unslung the tranquilizer pistol, loaded last EMP dart for camera kill, then 2 neuro darts. Her free hand gripped a rock for balance. The first guard paused near generator shack, scanning tree line. Rain sheeted off his hood, forming veil. Astra raised pistol, exhaled, fired. Dart struck helmet edge. Electricity spider webbed visor, frying optics. Guard spasmed, rifle clattering into mud. She dashed, caught him before thud, dragged behind fuel drums, injected neuro dart into neck. He sagged unconscious, on plateau. Deacon engaged second guard using suppressed bursts, 1 to knee, 1 to shoulder, non-fatal but disabling. He zip-tied man, gagged with poncho shred. Silence reclaimed field, except rain percussion. Keller hustled up. Timer spoof extended. 36 minutes. Astra exhaled relief thin as paper. Inside mast hut now. They pried door. Interior smelled of warm circuits and mildew. A 4U rack blinked amber. Fans whined. A single fiber line exited roof into antenna feed. Keller tapped keyboard, remote, logged to CubeSat gateway. Security handshake requires Gray's vocal signature, plus cryptographic token. She eyed dead man remote in Astra's glove. Token present, need voice. Deacon grimaced. He's pulping an elevator shaft. Astra's gaze drifted to captured guard's headset. Try voice cloning. Keller's eyes lit. She dragged guard inside. Fitted headset to laptop, ran sample capture of groans. AI reconstructive algorithm spun spectrogram arcs. She pieced lines from intercepted speeches to create phrase. Confirm abort Gray. Output. Played tinny but close. She fed token and voice to uplink demon. Screen stalled. Rain hammered roof. Then read error. Biometric entropy mismatch. Keller cursed. They seeded random challenge code unique each time. Need Gray's laryngeal. Micro tremor signature. Astra's throat tightened. No way to replicate from fragments? Not within hour. Keller's knuckles whitened. Deacon swore. Could physically sever uplink fiber, but then fallback radio might trigger team remote from anywhere. Astra paced limp tight circles. She recalled Lucian's speech in elevator. His voice recorded via her suit's mic. She dug through HUD logs on tablet and jacket, scrolled. Their clip. Authority is a currency inflated tonight. High fidelity. She forwarded file to Keller. Keller isolated vowel sets, generated voice model. Second attempt played passphrase. Demon word. Yellow progress bar crept. At 74%, screen froze again. Asterisk Geo, fence confirmation required. Biometric wrist pulse from Gray within 20 meters. Asterisk Deacon banged rack. They built-in body proximity check. Astra's jaw clenched. He's half-kilometer up shaft. Elevator pit still inside 20-meter radius of this mast. Keller S.map overlay popped observatory to mast 1.4 kilometers. No. Could. Sheet by spoofing pulse sensor with pacemaker signal tuned to Gray's heart rate. Keller mused. But we need at least 36 nanotesla magnet profile from his implanted watch. Astra's memory flashed. During elevator standoff, she noticed Gray's left wrist bared fancy kinetic watch. If body crushed, watch still there. They needed the watch. We fetch, she said, turning. Deacon grabbed her arm. Meridian ground swarming ridge. Helicopter spotlight swept plateau entrance. Engine roar low. We can't backtrack lightly. Keller. Glance timer. 32 minutes and 7 seconds. Split again, she suggested. I refine pacemaker spoof. You retrieve watch. If caught, Deacon returns to destroy mast. Cut fallback. Accept risk. Astra inhaled rain, heavy air. Let's gamble. She swapped pistol for captured guard suppressed SMG. Checked mag 14 rounds. Deacon offered spare cum bead. She inserted, static fizzled. Channel coded dot, she sprint limped. Uphill through pines, heart pounding. Helicopter banked other way, luck. She descended serpentine path to backside of observatory ridge. Smoke curled from generator tower fire still smoldering. Rain hissed on hot metal dot, she reached rear of control. Building, Meridian troopers still combing interior. She avoided windows, slid toward elevator maintenance hatch she'd earlier pried. Shaft door jammed partly open, smell metallic. She clipped rappel line, descended slowly. Gray's body lay sprawled atop cab roof, skull crushed, torso pinned. By beam, his wrist jutted, watch intact, ticking like nothing wrong. Astra's stomach flipped, but she pushed revulsion aside. She reached, knife sawed strap free, pocketed watch. Also noticed microdermal sensor patch on his forearm, maybe pulse tag. She peeled, bagged dot climb back taxed arms. At top she heard. Radio chatter. Subject Collins sighted service road. Diversion. She exhaled relief. They didn't know she was inside. She exited through HVAC vent, crawled into rain. Helicopter thunder closer. She rolled down slope, muddy sprint, branch snagging hair. Timer remote beeped 25 minutes and 42 seconds. Cum crackled. Keller whisper. EMP patrol nearly at mast. Deacon preparing deterrent. Astra emerged onto plateau's southeast. 2 Meridian troopers by hilltop scanned with thermal scopes. She froze behind stump. Rain-cooled body, masking IR but not forever. She recalled neurodarts empty. She unscrewed SMG suppressor. Placed stone inside can, through far right. Stone clanged metal roofing. Troopers turned, advancing. She crept opposite direction, staying low. One spotlight flashed. She ducked under root tangle into culvert stream. Water icy around SHINS that they passed overhead. She rose, slipping back to mast shack. Inside. Deacon and Keller crouched over jury rig bench, forest of wires. Keller grabbed watch, scanned magnetometer. Smile flickered. Pulse signature acquired. She attached sensor patch to dummy gel pad wired into circuit. Algorithm synthesized pseudo-cardiac telemetry channel. She fed along with voice print and token. Demon progress. 10%. 40%. 70%. 90%. A pause long enough for heartbeat. Then green text. Abort sequence confirmed. Disarm successful. Relief. Crashed into room like silent thunder. Keller wiped tears mixing with rain streaks. Deacon exhaled a laugh, but celebration short. Exterior microphone picked heavy boots. Meridian squad outside door. No time to transmit proof. Keller started secure upload from laptop to public nodes. But transfer would take 10 minutes. Connection piggyback on narrow microwave dish. Deacon armed EMP charges around rack to prevent recapture. Astra covered door. Squad shouted, "This facility secured. Drop weapons." Astra answered with silence. She eyed upload bar 12%. Keller muttered, "If they cut power, Link dies." Astra whispered, "I'll stall." She set weapon on floor, opened door slowly, stepped into rain, hands raised. "I'm unarmed." Squad leader aimed rifle. "On your knees." She complied. Knees sinking mud, hands clasped. She glimpsed his patch Meridian, but no Wolf. Maybe loyal faction not corrupted. She spoke calmly. "Black Shuck disarmed. Evidence uploading. Help us finish." Leader's jaw tightened. "Colonel Locke's orders. Secure Collins for testimony. Then secure me inside hut. Interfere and satellites kill millions." Lightning flashed, illuminating his doubt. He motioned pair to sweep hut. They entered. Deacon held trigger on EMP but withheld. Soldiers saw Keller and upload bar 36%. They relayed outside, non-hostile data exfil. Leader listened, then lowered rifle slightly. "We hold perimeter," he announced, to Astra. "If you're lying, I pull plug." She nodded, heart pounding. Inside hut, Keller raised thumb. Upload 43%. Minutes crawled. Rain eased to drizzle, dawn lightning computer. Helicopter rotors distant, then fading, perhaps redirected. Halfway through, upload stalled 61%. Keller hissed, "Bandwidth jam." Astra entered hut, passed watch to Deacon. "Boost repeater." He climbed mast ladder under drizzle, attached watch's antenna coil to microwave dish, arc welded contact. Link resumed 64%. 70%, midway point. Arrived, Keller looked at Astra. They shared weary grin. She pulled handheld recorder, clicked. "This story took us a long time. If you like it, subscribe." Now back to the story. Astra chuckled despite gloom, the routine comfort of familiar script. Upload climbed. Meridian loyalists questioned by radio. Locke herself demanded sitrep. Squad leader explained. Locke ordered stand down until forensic team arrival. But a new threat loomed. Black smudge shapes racing tree line armored buggies bearing Wolf emblem. Black Shuck stragglers intent on salvage. Squad formed firing line. Deacon slid down ladder, breath ragged. Astra braced. SMG returned by leader. Upload 88%. Buggies skidded, gunners firing. Bullets cracked hut siding. Keller ducked behind rack, shielding laptop with body. Astra sprayed bursts, hitting driver of lead buggy. Vehicle rolled, flipping. Explosion bloomed, showering mud. Second buggy veered, unloading rockets. Squad suppressed, but one rocket streaked overhead, hit mast midsection. Metal screamed, dish tilted precarious. Deacon dashed to reinforce struts with cable. Upload 91%. Third buggy advanced. Astra's mag dry. She rolled behind barrier, drawing flare pistol loaded with last pyrotechnic. She fired into buggy's grill. Flare lodged near radiator, igniting fuel vapor. Vehicle erupted, skeleton frame soaring. Shuck-foot soldiers dismounted, pressed attack. Bullets zipped. Squad lost 2 men. Astra crawled to fallen trooper, retrieved spare grenade, lobbed. Blast shredded foliage, silencing assault. A lull. Rain started again softly. Upload 97%. Keller shouted, "Power hit." UPS offline in 20 seconds. Deacon hot-wired buggy battery to mast inverter, sparks dancing. Power steadied. 98%, 99%. A final rocket screamed, launched from deeper woods. It tore through sky toward mast like vengeance. Too fast to intercept. Squad dove. Astra stood frozen, calculation helpless. Detonation blossomed. Top half of. Mast sheared, tumbling flaming dish into brush. Power lines snapped. Upload window froze, wheels spinning. Then popped 100% mirrors active before. Laptop screen cracked from shockwave. Success eked through destruction. Astra fell to knees. Exhausted tears mixing with rain. Fires crackled around, but danger felt distant. Keller crawled, hugged her fiercely. Deacon joined, heads bowed under gray dawn. Sirens approached, Locke's full company. Black Shuck survivors fled into fog. No more fight. Locke arrived, gaze. Sweeping devastation. She met Astra's eyes, nodded once, a silent salute without apology or praise. Hours later, field medics finished triage. Astra sat on medical transport tailgate. Blanket over shoulders, ankle finally numb in proper cast. Press drones circled sky, their optics hungry but blocked by Meridian jammers for now. Keller limped over with datapad. Public sentiment off. Charts, Congressional Committee calling emergency session to dismantle Mayor Seraph. Good, Astra whispered. Deacon approached holding 3 steaming cups of ration coffee. Almost tastes like victory. They clinked cups. Astra looked at mission log on tablet. Final entry, auto-generated. Asterisk liability risk 0. Operative Collins' actions prevented catastrophic infrastructure loss. Asterisk, below. A note from algorithm. Recommend commendation and trust level upgrade. She laughed softly. Relief like sunrise after polar night. Journalists eventually swarmed, but Locke kept them back until official statement. When podium set, Locke surprised by inviting Astra, Deacon, Keller to stand beside. She spoke to cameras. Heroes aren't defined by rank but resolve. These specialists saved countless lives. Flashes lit their faces. Astra squinted, recalling stage prompts. She took breath, leaned to mic. We'll tell full story soon. For now, know the truth is yours. Crowds erupted in online feed, hearts and blue diamonds. Days passed. Recovering in secure cottage by lakeside, Astra watched news. Black Shuck leadership captured crossing border. Cubisat Rodsda orbited safely. Mayor Seraph disbanded. Keller joined Oversight Council. Deacon accepted instructor role but promised to keep coffee warm. That one serene evening, Astra sat on porch, ankle elevated, reading dog-eared volume of her mother's field notes. Sunset painted lake a copper ribbon. She closed book, feeling world quiet for first time in months. Tablet pinned, message from mission log, old algorithm. Asterisk, new alert. Unidentified cyber merc outfit, obsidian lantern, detected probing coastal. Weather stations. Asterisk, she sighed, smiled wryly. Peace always relative. She rose, leaning on cane, silhouette framed by dying light. Not today, she murmured, shutting tablet, choosing one night of uninterrupted horizon. Crickets chirped. Wind rustled leaves. Something like contentment settled. 2 hours later, she uploaded final video diary, addressing distant audience. If you've followed every step, you know labels mean nothing, only actions. Thank you for every you dropped. You kept me moving. She paused, sincerity in soft gaze. 2 more great stories are next. Don't miss them. Subscribe and turn on notifications.